3. Good morning and welcome to ISP News, today's sports edition. I'm Dream Girl.
And this is the Night Watchman.
And this is the sports edition.
Sometime soon we'll probably be visited by Cliff Notes, our very own sports expert.
And we are listening to... what's the name of the show? First Take.
First Take with Stephen A. Smith.
So, can we hear it?
Sure.
Nintendo, what are you thinking about? But Brooklyn, with those two boys and the potential that exists, even though Miami's standing in your way, you should be able to handle everybody else in the Eastern Conference if you have Dwight Howard. To me, that's an ideal situation.
For my answer, I threw out the fragility.
Right.
Mental weakness.
I know.
I just said in a vacuum, best of all worlds. But given what Dwight is and isn't psychologically, mentally, lack of toughness, just mental toughness.
Yeah.
You know where he belongs? Orlando. He does. I'm serious.
Right.
That's why I'm still not writing it completely off that he stays in Orlando.
Skip, he can't come back to Orlando. They're done. I mean, the organization is moving in a different direction. The city is flat out offended by the position they believe he takes, that he has taken. He has to have the courage to sit down. I don't care if it's with me or somebody else. I don't care who it's for. He has to have the courage to sit down and explain himself, because he has looked very, very bad throughout this whole ordeal. Now, quietly, he's telling everybody what a victim he has been. It's not
victimized himself.
Well, I'm just saying he victimized himself to some degree.
He thought they misled him.
Well, he thought he was misled, and he thinks that, you know. But the bottom line is, it's not enough for him to whisper and for ESPN to use ticker tape, you know. No, you got to man up and speak up for yourself. And that's the difference between him and some of the preeminent stars in this game. From a LeBron James to a Kobe to a Chris Paul to a Darren Williams and others. I guarantee you, if they were in the kind of heat that Dwight Howard has been experiencing over the last few months, you would have heard from them emphatically about what their positions were. But he's been hiding in L.A., and he needs to stop that.
But if he's feeling the heat and you say that he has a fragile ego and the mental makeup of him, what happens if they don't win or he doesn't succeed right away in Brooklyn?
I understand that. But the thing about it is that no matter what pressure exists in Brooklyn, it's nothing compared to the pressure that exists in L.A. You're hopeful in Brooklyn. There are expectations in L.A.
Except what you're underestimating is Dwight Howard, to Michael's question, would become the center, literal center of attention in Brooklyn. And the onus, the responsibility for failing would fall mostly on Dwight's shoulders. Not on Darren Williams, certainly not on Joe Johnson, speaking of fragility.
Yeah, but the only reason it's that way is because of how he's handled this whole ordeal. Had it not been for that, it would have been about Darren Williams. But because he's handled things this way, now he's put it on himself. Even if he went to L.A., he still put it on himself because he said he didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
All right. You know who's already in L.A., of course, is Kobe Bryant. Well, actually, he's over in Great Britain, right, getting ready for the Olympics. But Kobe was asked yesterday about Commissioner David Stern's proposal to restrict the NBA's Olympic involvement to players aged 23 and younger, and he had this to say. This is Kobe telling a group reported by ESPN's Mark Stein, it's a stupid idea. It should be a player's choice. Let me start with you, Stephen A. Agree or disagree? Is this a stupid idea?
Got to be very careful about how I say this because I do not feel like getting a call from the commissioner, Stephen. When you have a moment, please make sure to make a trip to the office. I'd like to talk to you. I really don't feel like that. I really don't feel like that.
You have
Yes, I have on several occasions. But I will say the office is immaculate, and he
This is
always feeds
ISP
me.
News
I'll give him
Sports
credit for that.
Edition.
Commissioner Stern
I'm
always
Dream
gives
Girl.
me a
I'm here
nice
with the
Coke
Night
or Pepsi,
Watchman.
and he always has lunch for me, so I
And
always
we're
appreciate
listening
that.
to
After that, it's a little bit rough.
First Take
After that's a little bit
ESPN.
rough because he's going to speak his mind. But with that being said, Kobe's absolutely right. In my opinion, I think it's ridiculous to try to limit the age of Olympians to 23 years of age. I think it should be a player's choice. When they lost 3 games in 2004, I believe, when they won the bronze, They had 6 guys on the squad under the age of 23 or under. They're playing against grown men. Argentina and Spain, who've given them the roughest ride over the last several years. I mean, these guys, you know, customarily their average age is 30. So when you take that into consideration and you look at these guys, to me, it shouldn't be about age, Skip. What it should be about is making sure that guys aren't. This is the NBA. It's the greatest league in the world. I appreciate the fact that we get to watch LeBron and Kobe and those boys. But if LeBron and Kobe and D Wade and all of them won a gold medal in 2008, it's the world's greatest players. How come you can't have a new crop of players in 2012? Why can't you have a new crop of players in 2016? Then we wouldn't be concerned with age, because it would be new, fresh faces and fresh bodies every 4 years. I don't believe that guys should be competing in a multitude of Olympics because you are the greatest basketball league in the world, and you should be able to put 12 guys out there that can compete for a gold medal without a problem. The fact that you have to lean on LeBron again and Melo again and Kobe again and those boys, to me, is unnecessary. But I don't think there should be a 23-year-old age limit.
By the way, I've never been called to the principal's office. I think the principal knows it would be useless, right?
Yeah, well, not only that, you know, y'all are, kindred spirits.
Yeah, that's
to some degree.
I think Kobe Bryant was dead wrong to say this and say it publicly. I was not proud of Kobe, because I'm on record, and you and I have locked horns about this several times. I love my NBA. I am not so jingoistic that I need my NBA players to band together every 4 years and go nuke the rest of the world and prove that we have the best basketball. I know we have the best basketball here. I don't need an Olympic tournament to prove that. And what our commissioner of the NBA, and Mark Cuban, I believe it was Mark's idea, I got to give him some credit here, they are, for the first time maybe ever, seeing eye to eye on this one issue. They believe that there should be a World Cup tournament akin to the soccer tournament that is so big every 4 years, in which there would be no age limit. The NBA players could play in that every 4 years because they're basically required to play in it anyway to build up to the Olympic tournament. So they would cut in half the wear and tear on the bodies of the highly paid maximum salary NBA players who risk their bodies every 2 years, then 4 years, to play in a World Cup and an Olympic tournament.
But what do you have to say about Kobe's assertion, which is accurate, by the way, that we'd be playing pickup basketball anyway?
It's not the same, because there's a lot of pressure on the Olympians. And you're right. Brazil, they'll cause some problems, even though it was an 11-point game the other night in an exhibition. When it's time, Brazil will take it up another notch, and it'll be an interesting game. Argentina will cause some problems. France, we can go on and on. They're going to have to play some hard basketball. Maybe they won't. God help them. We hope they won't get hurt. But what they do is they wear their bodies down, they lose their off season, and they risk injury going into the next NBA season, going through a training camp and into the NBA season. I don't want to see it. I love my NBA too much, and I'm with the owners on this. They're paying ridiculous amounts of money to players who then go risk their bodies for good old US of A when it's not really necessary to me. The under-23s could take care of business.
But isn't the motivation here, to your point, the World Cup of basketball? The owners get no revenue money from the Olympics allowing their players to play in these international tournaments. They would if they had the World Cup of basketball under the setup.
If you set it up right now, nobody cares about it.
No, but that's what the owners care about.
Yeah, but the problem with that is that if you do that, then nobody's going to care about Olympic basketball.
Okay, but you still got the 23 and unders. They'll be okay. We could get enough of those. I mean, kids.
But if you are a superstar on the NBA level, haven't you earned the right to make that decision? You want to play, you don't.
No, because you just signed on for $20 million a year. Somebody's paying you ridiculous money. They should have the right to say, you rest through this offseason.
No, I agree with that. I definitely agree. But the point that I'm trying to make is that, remember, these same people that you're saying should have the power to do that are the same people that wanted to send a message to the rest of the world with the original Dream Team. And you can't ignore that. They instigated this process.
Which people?
No,
Who
no,
are these
I'm
people?
saying the league, USA Basketball, everybody.
Not the league.
No. They all. Oh, excuse me. The league had nothing to do with Michael Jordan and those boys participating in Barcelona. Of course they did. They absolutely
David Stern was
did.
right.
They absolutely did. The Players Association. The Players Association at the time, according to what I'm told, were negotiating stuff. These guys in the Olympics were paid in 1992. There was some compensation that they received for participating in Olympic competition. What I'm trying to say is that there's no way all of those things could have transpired without the blessing of the NBA. It was celebrated. We still
Well,
celebrate.
trust
the
me,
original
they're not
Olympic
blessing
thing.
it anymore.
But I'm saying, but they instigated this process. So you can't sit there and turn around and say, well, you know what, they should have the right to say, I'm paying you $20 million, you're not doing it. Well, you're the one that came to the players and asked them to do it in the first place.
Okay, but Cuban wasn't an owner in 1992.
And you know this, Stephen A. The players are going to be, the international players are going to be under enormous pressure to continue to play and represent the country. We saw what Yao Ming had to go through for China. So what's going to happen is
Okay,
the
but there's
NBA.
no- the
I mean,
NBA
they can do that to the. No, but these are NBA players.
Yeah.
This is across the board for NBA players, right? David Stern wants to do that for NBA players. You're going to try to get all the international players also to the international.
Yeah, because Dirk Nowitzki's
federations.
going to play for Germany.
Hey,
Yeah,
what-
exactly.
Serge Ibaka and those boys going to
That's
play
fair.
for Britain.
The international
I'm talking about the
federations, you gotta
United
get them
States
all on
players.
board. Okay, I know,
I
but
got
you got to get everybody on board. Otherwise, you're going to have the college kids going up against NBA players.
You know what?
Can a knowledge, can
Do
a
I care?
knowledge all-star?
Do I care? No, I don't care. I'm
We'll be
sorry.
doing the same
You
thing
call me a
instead with the Dream Team.
Hey, you call me a communist? I don't care. I just don't care. I want my NBA.
Whoa.
That's what you're doing
Wow.
for that
No,
way.
don't. I'm an American. It ain't all right to call yourself a communist. Stop that.
No,
Oh
I
my
said you can
Okay.
call me.
Oh my goodness. All right.
Doesn't bother
I'm not doing
Let's
it.
Okay.
bring that to a screeching halt thanks to that comment. And let's take a break right now. Yeah, I am. Coming up after the break, we will discuss. Let's go to a topic that I'm sure you can't wait to discuss. Tim Tebow's night out in Hollywood. Yeah.
Tim knows about LA.
Oh, well, yes, he does. Yes, he does.
we're
I'm glad to
discuss
hear
that.
you at least admit that much.
This is Mike. Mike's being healthy and chewing like a man. Introducing One-A-Day Vitacraves for Men. It's a gummy multivitamin with more vitamin B to convert food to energy and help Mike do manly things like wrestle bears and take out the garbage. New One-A-Day Vitacraves for Men.
With the new flavor pack Pizzolo from Pizza Hut, it is time to say so long to the footlong man!
Who are you talking to?
Say hello to the Pizzolo and meat trio Italian steak and buffalo chicken. Get one for $3 or two for $5. Pizza Hut. Make it great.
To me, music is about what feels right at that time. I like to live off of emotion and I like to be able to express that. I'm Mac Miller, and this is how I do.
No one gives you more coverage of the British Open than DirecTV. With 4 dedicated HD channels all on one screen, you won't miss a single swing. Only on DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV.
Have you been looking and have you found a first take talk feed of some sort?
I don't know. I just put one in though.
You just put one in.
Yeah. Feed on Twitter.
Oh. Oh, right in my ears. You gotta figure out how to cut that bell off.
So you're listening to ISP News Morning Sports Edition. I'm Dream Girl here with the Night Watchman. And we are listening to and commenting on First Take on ESPN this morning. Sports news.
A lot of talk about
Dwight Howard.
Dwight Howard and where he's going.
And the big controversy is Jeremy Lin.
Why he left New York.
Or why, what's his name? The owner of the team? They were really had a crazy debate about him.
Yeah, I don't remember his name right now, but when they started off, they really started off talking about it being the owner's problem, but I don't really think it was the owner's problem. I think the problem really lies where Carmelo Anthony and apparently also some of the other players didn't care for the kid. Yeah. When you watch those clips of him with his tongue out skipping backwards, he looks pretty cocky. So.
Well, you have to appreciate some points about the fact that this Lynn could be a main player in Houston, where he's not going to be the main player in New York.
Yeah, but most athletes like to win. He didn't really want to go. But did you hear what Stephen A. Smith was talking about? That was kind of key, I thought, is that he went out and he said he wanted 3 years, 20 mil, and then he went out and got Houston to give him 3 years, 26 mil. And then he went back and threw it at the Knicks, saying, I got 3 years, 26 mil here. And I don't think the owner liked that because they already had negotiated 3 years, 20 mil. So when he did that, you know, the owner, being a billionaire, decided to tell him,
according to People magazine,
to get it.
Took over a back corner
to
table.
Houston.
But even with a young lady by his side, a source says he focused his attention on the men in the group as they all talked about football and were laughing and joking, seemed to enjoy their conversation. Skip, go.
This is a beautiful story, and I want to thank People magazine for providing this ammunition for me today to bounce off my friend Stephen A. Smith. Because, yes, Tebow was out at a Hollywood hotspot, and yes, there was a tall brunette in his dinner party. But no, he did not speak to the tall brunette for much of the night, Stephen A. Smith. I'm going to read this one more time to you so it will sink into your skull.
Yes, I have it right in front.
He focused his attention on the men in the group. And as they all talked about football, they were laughing and joking, seemed to enjoy their conversation. So yes, he was out in Hollywood with the tall brunette, but the conversation clearly was focused on football. Tebow's out at dinner, but he's talking football. He might have even been going over the playbook with the male friends in the party. He might have been actually breaking down the new creative plays that Tony Ferrano has brought to the Jets offense. He might have been predicting just how many bomb touchdown passes he hopes to throw to Santonio Holmes. And I think there are going to be quite a few of them. This is why I love me some Tim Tebow, because he's out in West Hollywood talking football. That's the man I know and love.
Yeah. So first of all, let's see here. This quote, he focused his attention on the men in the group as they talked about football and were laughing and joking, seeming to enjoy their conversation. That's the point that you live on. Skip, let me get a little personal with you. Is it not you that was talking to me yesterday during commercial break and saying that, you know what, are you guys in the public affection, holding your woman's hand, doing things like that? Did you say no? Did you say that?
I said I have issues with that.
You have some issues with that, right?
Put me on the spot.
I'm going somewhere. Listen.
Yes,
I'm going somewhere with that.
Yes,
listen.
I will admit it publicly. Ernestine and I have some little
It really doesn't matter because the lovely
occasionally.
Ernestine can get you. She can make you do it. If she wants you to do it bad enough, you do it.
Can't
Trust
you
me.
just hold my
Here's the
hand
deal.
in the ball?
Here's the deal.
I don't want to.
Here's the deal, Skip. Most dudes, especially dudes that got a little Mac about them, don't necessarily have to show, affection in public.
Oh,
they could save those things. All right, that's number one. Number two, notice that everywhere, first of all, aside from the amount of time that Tim Tebow has found himself in La La, okay, and I assure you it's La La for a reason. We notice how not only do we find him in La La quite often, Michael and Skip, but we also always hear about him being with a lady. This is the Tim Tebow that, will sprinkle on us and we too shall be healed. This is the Tim Tebow that, is Mr. Polly Purebred. This is Tim Tebow. Oh, never. These dastardly thoughts and things like that. Never Tim Tebow. Oh, no. He would never think of such a thing. He's a different kind of man. He's not a man. He's a different kind of man. Really? I told you before, and I'm going to tell you again.
Better be careful.
Oh, no. Everybody else got to be careful. I don't have to be careful. My position has been consistent. I'm not apologizing at all, because if it ever happened, I don't have a problem with that man. I would never judge him harshly because some would say, call it a transgression. I personally don't call it a transgression.
Okay, well, I
But,
would.
that's fine.
I would have a big problem, and I don't think it happened.
I understand. But all I'm trying to say to y'all is because of people like you and others who want him to live up to this image you have of him and one he has facilitated, by the way.
It's not an image.
You realize, Michael, if we found out that Tim Tebow was getting his groove on, it would probably make the front pages of every newspaper in this country. I mean, that's how pathetic it is right now. So that's the life. It is pathetic.
That would be a bombshell story.
It shouldn't be, though. It shouldn't be.
No, it should.
Break
a vow?
No, stop it.
I'm not going to stop it.
All of us have sinned in the eyes of the Lord. I mean, it happens. And all I'm trying to say to you is that in Tim Tebow's case, let's just say it wouldn't surprise me. And I'm just going to leave it at that.
You have inside info on it.
No, okay. I'm not going to say anything. I'm trying to tell y'all. Y'all sitting there acting like that. He's a good-looking man. That's what I tell you he can't throw. Never said he can't play football. Never said that he's not going to run the football well for the New York Jets. I certainly never said that he wasn't a good-looking dude and that women, go gaga over him. Wherever he goes.
That is true.
It's not an accident that the Bible says the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Okay. I'm just trying to tell y'all. I'm not going to even say it no more because I don't want any religious groups or anybody else getting on me. I'm going to leave it alone. But I'm trying to tell y'all keep fighting with me on this. You wait.
Okay?
You wait.
Realize.
Yes.
There are men out there, such as Tim Tebow, who are much stronger than you are.
Oh, I know that.
Yeah.
Oh, I am guilty as charged. In that department, you're absolutely right.
Yes.
But you know what? But
Respect
it
to
doesn't
that.
make them invincible.
Celibacy.
Just because they're stronger
Whether
than
he's
me
going to be
and
able,
everybody
they were
doesn't make
talking
them invincible.
about that
I'm
a
just
week
saying.
ago.
Tim Tebow likes the ladies. He likes to date. He
So,
likes to be seen. He likes
He's
to flirt.
with women all the
That's all
time,
fine
and
with me.
Stephen A. Smith says he's not going to make it.
Yes.
Right, he's been saying
I
that.
told you on many occasions, the key to resisting temptation is
Avoiding it?
avoiding
I don't
it.
think so.
You don't expose yourself to it consistently and then, I'm going to be strong. Oh, somebody going to catch you. You avoid it. That's how you resist it. It's worked for me.
Okay, and to your other point about La La Land and all the
La La special.
You know what I love the most about LA? It's a great place to work out. That's what he loves about the sunshine. You get off that plane, you feel reinvigorated.
Thank you for that statement.
Yeah.
Because the world now knows how different you are.
Okay.
Because let me tell you something.
You know what I love the most about LA?
When people
I
talk
gotta
about
say
LA, they don't sit there and go like this. That's a great.
Okay, you know what?
I want to go because I want to run on Venice Beach.
No, wait a minute.
On
Run down the
ISP
Rodeo
News Morning
Drive.
Sports
No,
Edition, I'm
that's
Dream
not
Girl here
why
with
they
the
go
Night
to
Watchman,
LA.
and we're
For me,
commenting
the
on
Mecca
First
of
Take
workout
on
is the
ESPN.
Gold's Gym in Venice Beach, the original Gold's Gym. It's the greatest place in the world. It's when I go to LA, I want to go to the Gold's
And
Gym.
you know
in Venice.
why? And
So does he.
Time out.
I will bet you.
And can I tell you why? And I can tell you something else. You know why most men like going to work out at Gold's Gym in Venice Beach? What rolls around in Venice Beach?
Women.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you. Stop that. Venice Beach is special. Special.
So when you're going out to Hollywood, I guess you're not going to be.
I don't expose myself to the temptation. That was my transformation, avoiding it. Not trying, I'm going to resist it. I want to go ahead and work out. Oh, yes. No. It was like, hey, I don't need to go here. I don't need to go there. I know what spots to avoid.
Yeah, do as he says, not as he does.